If you guys call in and it's busy, just keep calling. I think they only have one line. I don't know why that is. And if you go to listen into the show and it has somebody else's pre-recorded name in there, just ignore it and go ahead and listen because it's probably, they just probably didn't switch it or something. You better call soon. 129. Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
And welcome back to the show. Of course, I'm your host, Mike David, and joining me today, please welcome my guest, Amy Satori. Amy, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great.
That's
it's
great.
Snowing over here.
And Amy, why don't you start with first putting out your contact info, or whatever is the best way for my audience to reach out to you for after the show.
All right. It's Amy Satori. That's spelled S as in Sam, A-T as in Tom, O-R-I, Satori. And you can find me on Instagram if you just put that name in Instagram, or you could go to just put my name in YouTube. My channel will come up, so you'll see a pink lotus. That's me. So you could always go to my website, which is amysatori.com. See, I make it really easy. As long as you know my name, you can find me wherever you want to find me. If you go to my website, I list all my services. I give some history. I talk about what I do. So there's a lot of different places you can find me. And I have some really great playlists on YouTube that you guys can feel free to explore. You could get lost in there for hours.
Excellent. And I want to remind the audience we are taking callers throughout the show. We actually have a new call-in number. It's not the same call-in number we've been using from our previous show. The new call-in number to call in and ask Amy here a question is 631-475-1467. Once again, that's 631-475-1467. 1467. Again, if you would like to call in, ask a question, which you can do at any point during the show, that number is 631-475-1467. And Amy, welcome back. We're always looking forward to getting more information and hearing just more insight that you give, of course. But for those out there who are maybe first time tuning into your show, or just may not be as familiar, if you don't mind, just going over what it is you do exactly, and just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started off as a pet psychic. That was my primary thing after being an positive reinforcement animal trainer for years. Then I became like an animal communicator. Admitted it. I had always been, but I just didn't tell people. Then I became a healer. Started out through using healing through Qigong, learning healing through Qigong. And then I became like an intuitive spiritual teacher. Then I was the featured psychic at the Lighthouse Bookstore, and I got awarded the best psychic in Boulder for 2 years straight so far. And so, yeah, pretty much if you have a question about anything going on in your life, then you just ask me about it, and I'll talk to Spirit and see what they have to say.
Awesome. What was that like, getting awarded Best Psychic?
Surprising. I had they didn't even have the award until I came along, I think. They told me it was the first time they'd given the award to a psychic, and I was like, wow, that is such an honor, because Boulder is like known for their psychics. I had no idea about the award. I was just told afterwards that I had won, which is great, because I would have been like, well, what in the world? I would have been a little intimidated, I guess. But no, they were just like, guess what? You won the Best Psychic of Boulder award. I'm like, okay. And then I won it again the next year, and I'm like, well, okay. This is awesome.
Wow,
so
that is amazing. We actually, we do have a caller for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that calls in that we are limited to 1 or 2 questions. We want to give a chance to the rest of the callers actually calling in. But anyway, caller, are you with us?
Yes.
Awesome. Why don't you go ahead and ask your question to Amy here?
I do have a question about my education. I wanted to see where that path is going to take me, so I'm trying to trust guidance, but I'm doubting it.
Okay. You're okay. What are you trying to be right now? Like, what are you heading for? What's your goal currently?
Law school.
Law school?
Law school.
No,
Yes.
you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. Okay, what? But
Really?
yeah, but you have a lot of tenacity. I mean, you seriously, like, you're fierce. You have like a warrior in you, and you need to be using that energy for sure. So I do see you being some kind of an advocate. I feel like you might even be doing something with dealing with legal stuff. I don't know if you're gonna. I really don't think you're gonna do that. But I do think you're gonna help people, and you're gonna help a lot of people, and you're gonna be like, you're gonna have a platform, and you've got a very strong, great, powerful message to share. And so if I were you, I would be like leaning toward like being able to give public speeches. I'd be taking classes on how to be a leader and a speaker, because I think you're leaning more towards that direction. It's something about like just speaking your truth and being bold and brave and standing up for people. You're like you're like Speedy Gonzalez. You're like running around putting out. Yeah, you like run around putting out fires and you bully the bullies.
Yeah,
so that's probably why you.
My main thing, I like to bully the bully and people don't like me for that. So that's always that's what my doubts are. Like, is anybody going to stand up behind me, kind of thing.
You just need to embrace it as the best part of yourself, because that's what you were born to do. You were born to be brave and bold and not care. So put on a tough skin. I would even get your own YouTube channel, and I would just start speaking my truth if I were you. You're going to have a lot of haters, and let them hate, because as much as you've got the haters, you're going to have people who love you so much for speaking your truth. So be the badass you are. I would also say that, like, it feels like you're working with ISIS. So I would invite ISIS to be helping you along your path. Yeah. She was very much like that as well. She also was a fighter of justice. So if you can, one thing that I think you could work on, or one thing you need to maybe work on, is not judging. If you take the judgment part out and just fight for what's right, I think you're going to be even that much more powerful, and people will hear you better. Because if you're throwing out barbs and judgment, saying this is wrong, and if you're like doing that, then people will be turned off by it. A lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not listening to this because she's biased or whatever. But the more you can be just totally clear and logical and simple, to where people really can understand it, then you'll have more of an impact. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. And then you said 1 or 2 questions, right? That was okay?
Yeah.
The other one is I'm thinking about two men that I've been thinking about, but I'm not 100% about it. I'm just curious about that.
Sure. Put a number 1 and a number 2 on them, and I'll tell you which one's better for you. Just think about it for a second. Tell me if you got them straight.
One starts with the R, so that's 1, and then the second one starts with a T, that's 2.
Okay, number 2 is better. I think number 1, he's got a lot of growing yet to do. He hasn't quite gotten to the place where you are, where he could just put himself out there boldly. He's more reserved. He'd be more of a people pleaser. It might be. I mean, I could just be seeing you be pretty frustrated for years trying to get him to come out of his shell more.
Yeah.
The guy number 2. He's already right there with you. He's already very mature. He's gotten through a lot of those lessons. He's been through challenges. He can fight with you. He can fight in your corner. He's stronger.
Yeah, I told him off. I'm sorry, I'm interested. I told him off like a couple days ago because he was being like a jerk to me. So I was like, that's why I was doubting him as an individual.
Oh, number 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was that judging?
So, I feel like you guys are mirroring each other. So you're kind of seeing in him something you don't like about yourself, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think if both of you can take it as an educational experience and see what's reflected in each other in yourselves, you guys are going to grow tremendously and work better as a team. So I think there's something to be learned in there about the judgment part. And I just made a video, Messages from Spirit, for February 17th through 23rd. Definitely watch that video. It definitely pertains to the two of you, all of it. It was like meant for you guys. You're going to see.
Wow.
It's about to be uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
I think,
appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys could totally be a power couple when you learn to work together. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of not into that mode. Like, he does his own thing. Like, I know him for, like, since 2009, and I met him in martial arts. So we trained together, and I had knocked him on the head. So that was, nobody could ever defeat him kind of thing, you know, like, neutrality, you know. I did it to him, and he kind of, I kind of threw him in that way, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Looked up a lot of things.
Cool. Okay.
Awesome question there. Great response as well. Now, Amy, actually, before our caller, you had mentioned you actually do work with animals. Have you worked with any animals before?
Oh, lots and lots. I was known as the Pied Piper when I was a little kid. Everywhere that I would go, animals would follow. And even when I'm doing just regular remote readings with people, I'll see animals all over in the background. They'll just gravitate toward the camera. They just feel me. They know that I love them, and they just start, hanging around. It's really cute. It's inevitable. No matter where they are in the house, they will gravitate toward the camera so that I can see them and say hello to them and whatnot. But yeah, I've been working with animals for many, 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 many years. I can't even tell you, probably 15 or 20. Long time.
Gotcha. Now, of course, is it any different from working with people at all? Is there different types of feelings you get? What would you say?
Well, yeah, it's really interesting. I actually had to, I've gone through different spurts of learning how to do it even better, but they're really good telepathically, and honestly, they're like probably 5-year-old children in a way that their mentality is wide open. They want to learn from you, and I just felt somebody say, yeah, but they can be so stubborn. It's really not about like stubborn. If you think an animal is being stubborn, you're not training it right. There are some stubborn animals, yes, or there are. If you don't give them something competing with what they really want, they'll probably just do what they really want. But if you know how to do positive reinforcement well, then you'll find a competing motivator, and you can get them to want to do the right thing better. But you got to be smarter than the dog, which can be kind of tough sometimes. But when it comes to like me convincing them of things or helping them to see a certain point or whatever, if you can imagine telling a 5-year-old child an idea, animals respond much the same way, and your body does too, for that matter. So they hear you, they listen, and they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And it really dawns on them what you're saying. They don't usually, people that I talk to, even spirits, will argue with me. And they'll be like, no, that's not true. Or, I've known this other situation where that wasn't the case, and we can go round and round. But when it comes to this, when it comes to the body or animals, there's no arguing. They just go, oh, okay. But that's also why you have to be really careful what you say around them, because when you're hanging around with the family and you say that your dog's really stupid or really dumb or not as pretty as like say you got a purebred greyhound, but you got him because he had some kind of color problem. He didn't pass as one of the best because of his color. And so you say that sometimes, like, oh, well, we got the runt of the litter or whatever because he's not the best. If you say stuff like that around your animal's convinced that he's ugly, or your animal's convinced that he's stupid, and things like that, and you'll start seeing more of that, just like with any manifestation. But I can't tell you how many times I've gone to tell an animal something, and they're just like, what? I didn't know that I was actually something good. My parents always said blah, blah, blah. But they're also they're really sweet, like kids, in the way that they will speak their truth. They will just say it. They'll just be like, nuh-uh. You know, like, I think the first time I talked to a dog, it belonged to a friend of mine, and he was telling me that he takes his dog out for walks all the time, and I had sensed that he doesn't. And then when he said that to me, I was like, do you take him out very often? He's like, oh, all the time. The dog laughed. He cracked up. And he goes, if all the time is like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I started laughing, and I was like, he said, what happened? What did he say? And I said, he's telling on you. And he was like, really? And I told him that he laughed and everything, and he was just astonished. He couldn't believe that his dog did that, and he admitted to it. He's like, yeah, you're right. He's right. He's telling the truth. I was like, yeah, dogs don't lie, you know? Talking to a pet psychic can be so incredibly helpful. Like, if you guys are trying to diagnose if an animal is at the vet office and there's like 10 things that a disease can be, or something that they're not eating and you have no clue what that is, a pet psychic can actually feel what they feel and can look into the body and see what body parts are being affected, really help the veterinarian to narrow down what part of the body, you know, to do tests on. Or can just figure out what the problem is, especially if you know about the body and stuff like that. But yeah, it can be super helpful and save you a lot of money and a lot of time and effort if you know what your animal is thinking, you know.
Right. Yeah, that is very interesting there. And I just want to give another reminder to our audience that are looking to call in to ask Amy here a question. If you would like to call in, that number is 631-475-1467. Once again, that's 631-475-1467. And yeah, I think that is really interesting, you know, regarding the pets and being able to, you know, sense kind of their reactions and things like that. Do you have pets of your own? Is that something that you have as well?
Well, it's funny because I always have. I've always had like a million pets, and right now I don't have any. So I miss them like crazy, and every time I see an animal or get an animal, you know, in the background of somebody's video, I'm like, bring him to the screen, bring him to the screen. I want to hear his purr. I have people that send me. I have a veterinary. She's so awesome, a veterinarian. She sends me these little videos and snippets of like bunnies that she's holding, or like mealtime when all her animals come flocking and feeding, and she sends me a lot of really, really cute videos, which I love. A lot of my fans on Instagram and some of my clients send me stuff on WhatsApp too, and I just eat that stuff up because yeah, I really miss animals. I really love animals a lot. So
yeah, Amy, we actually have another caller for you if you don't mind.
Great. Okay.
Awesome. Caller, you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Why don't you go ahead and ask Amy here your question?
Hi, Amy. I've been I've been a fan of you for a while. I've been watching a lot of your videos on YouTube. My question is in regards to my divine masculine. Okay. I haven't spoken to him in almost a year, and a friend of mine actually suggested taking a girls' trip, and he lived out of state, or in a different state from me, and she actually suggested taking a trip to where he lives. Now, she had no idea anything about him, but she suggested it, and so I'm thinking about going, but I don't know if I should tell him in advance, or should I just show up and then tell him I'm in town. I'm not sure if he would be open to seeing me, talking to me.
I think you should, what I was getting when you were saying that is that you should let him know. But I would just go on the trip for the sake of going on the trip and having a good time. I wouldn't expect him to actually meet up with you. Because if he's not ready yet, which if he hasn't talked to you in a year, he's not ready yet. That means he's still too immature to be able to kind of face his demons and come to you and tell you what he feels for you. So at this stage, they usually will not. They will ghost you until they're ready. So I can't even tell you how many feminines have pulled a stunt like that or have said, well, it's my birthday, you should respond on my birthday or special occasions or something. And it's like, nope, they will not respond. They are pretty stubborn through that stage. Some of them even are stubborn because of their egos. You know, they got their arms crossed and they're like, no. You know, and others are just so scared of the intensity of the love that they just won't do it until they know that they're going to be successful. They don't want to fail, you know. They want to make sure they know when they're ready. So I would tell him, I would let him know that you're going and give him the invite, but don't expect him to actually meet up with you. I feel like there is a possibility, maybe 50% chance, but hang on a second. Let me talk to him for a second.
Okay.
He actually would be very, 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 very excited to hear that you're coming. Incredibly excited. I just don't know if he'd be brave enough to come talk to you. He's crazy about you. He's absolutely crazy about you. It's just like you get him so nervous, like he can't even like. I think if you came and then he didn't meet up with you, I think he'd be beating himself up really bad. But I think that that's also going to be a growth spurt he kind of has to go through. Sometimes you have to suffer in regret for a minute before you feel more resolved to like then kind of bounce back with more strength. So do it, but do it for you and let him know.
Okay. Should I give him like a month's notice or a week's notice, or does it not matter?
As much notice as possible, because I think it's good if you can give him like a month. That's perfect, because he can mold it over for that long and maybe then get himself ready to actually see you. If you give him a couple weeks, I don't know, that could keep him still kind of wishy-washy. I think the more time you give him, the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. He definitely loves you like crazy. He really does want to see you. He's dying to. He's just not sure if it's time yet to like go down that rabbit hole quite yet.
Okay.
He may call you though.
Thank you again. Have a great day.
You're welcome. I just got the feeling he might call you within the next month or so though. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Definitely feel
so.
Yeah, I have a service called a Quick Relationship Spread where you can get a little short reading through WhatsApp. I would do that around the time that you go maybe and try to see if you can even pinpoint that time period when you're there and see what comes up in the cards.
Okay. And that's on your website?
Yep. Quick Relationship Spread. Good luck.
Great. Thank you again. Have a good day.
You're welcome. You too. Bye.
Thanks again to the caller for calling in, and awesome response as well. And of course, you know, going back to what we were talking about with pets, I know you have some experience of maybe communicating with pets and things like that. Do you have any tips or advice for maybe pet owners to maybe do a better job of listening to their pets or paying a little bit more attention to certain things with their pets? Any tips or advice like that?
That's a really great question. Thanks for asking that. Yeah, I mean, just think about if you were an animal, you know, a lot of owners don't realize that their animals are cold, or maybe they know they're cold, but they let them be cold. And it's like, just get them a little heating pad if they seem cold, especially if they seem cold to the touch. They also are constantly telling me that they want better tasting food or that they want their water to be fresh all the time. A lot of owners let the water just sit there for days and get all gross and you know, it's got icky stuff in it. So throw the dish, you know, use a stainless steel bowl so you can throw it in the dishwasher and clean it really well too. They love clean water. Love clean water. Obviously, they love going out all the time and having some kind of stimulation. Some animals don't get played with; they kind of get ignored. So, if cats love to be up high, get cats some kind of a scratching post. If that's not your style and you're not into having a cat post in your living room, then at least get some shelves that are empty that the cat can go up high on the shelves. Because cats really, it's like necessary for them to either be really, really low underneath something or really, really high up on something. And if you don't want them jumping up on the counter in the kitchen, make some kind of shelf that's up high in the kitchen and steer the cat up to that shelf rather than on your countertops. If you have something that's higher than your countertop, the cat will go up on that instead. Yeah, I think those are the most common complaints. And they really, really love to be like cats and dogs. They really like to be in the window looking out at fun things. So make sure that they always have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, that's all I can think of, like in terms of what they're usually saying to me.
Yeah, that's excellent advice there. Thank you for that. And again, Amy, for those who want to find out more about you and everything you're involved in, again, where does that people can go?
They can go to amysatori.com, or they can put in Amy Satori in YouTube and look for the Pink Lotus. Or they can go to Instagram and put in Amy Satori is the name that you would search for in Instagram. Instagram is where I interact with people like on a normal, regular, everyday basis. So if you want to, get daily readings or more like random readings, or get some quick advice and things like that, then that's a really great way for us to connect. But in YouTube, there's just a wealth of information in the playlist. I have weekly collective love readings for those of you who have found your divine love counterpart, and I let you know kind of the general energies of that week, and that's kind of fun to watch. But yeah, find me out there, guys.
Sounds good, Amy. Once again, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing some great information today, and also helping out our audience. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks again, and for everyone else out there, please stay tuned. We're going to be right back.